This is one part, but it's not the only thing that is important for the air transport sector. Then I'll start with asking the first question that I've been in many events and always we talk about big data, and then the problem is that some of the companies or organizations in the air transport, they are not really keen to share data, and that does not help, in my opinion, the well-function of the system. Might be also affected in this initiative. Then, how important is to use the big data? I'll ask first.
Maybe I can start answering the question. The AI hype also has increased the significance of data, because if you cannot utilize the output of the data, you cannot understand the significance of the data. By the way, if you can log the history, it is a teacher for the future. Nowadays, our data teaches us to be prepared for the future, because your data allows you to predict, to forecast tomorrow, next week. As an airline, I call an airline as a planning and optimization company, because we don't produce the aircraft. What do you do at an airline? We plan and we optimize it and re-optimize it. So planning means understanding the future. To understand the future, you should understand your past, because the past data you log teaches you about tomorrow and the next week. And it helps you to plan your future and optimize your future. So data is everything. You, for example, the AI thing, think about AI. You teach your documents, you teach the system with the past history and the logs, and the system gives you what can happen in the future. So if you don't have data, you cannot teach your systems. So data is not only calculation, data is not only analytics, it's not only reporting. Data is your memory, data is your teacher and your guide for the future of planning. At least for an airline like us, we are very concentrated on optimization, because we are a low-cost airline. Our biggest value for our passengers is the cheaper fares. So optimization is the key. If you can manage your cost in the best way, you can provide cheaper tickets to your passengers. So optimization comes from the logs, the history, and the data. And if you're not logging your data points very well, then you don't know what's happening in your operations. So maybe I can sum up with this verse and give the word to other panelists. Maybe we can continue the further
There's
questions.
a lot of interesting things to discuss. Then, John, the airport perspective.
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad we have this mix, and especially an airline as well. And Petros here, who I'm trying to write it down because you managed to shoot us with a lot of information, right? And you talked about the future, went back and forth. You were speaking, I was thinking about investments, not only in the future, in the meantime, what we invest, right? And what you're telling us, it does not fully coincide with what we do today. And I'll talk about this first speech, right? Big data, it's I usually smile because we're very charismatic in the idea of creating all these buzzwords, you know, first of all. And in my head, when I say big data, I think about big fat, you know. But we started with spreadsheets, we went to big data sets, and then now we're talking about big data, right? But in reality, I think the buzzword and the right word is interoperability. Okay, this is how I see everything when we're talking about big data. Because what is big data? Big data is very specific. Okay, it's an ecosystem, especially in the airport, between the airlines, the airport, has to do with state authorities, passengers, and stakeholders within an airport overall. Right? There are a lot of challenges behind this. We talk about the challenges that we have. But in reality, it has to do with, let's say, first of all, the volume. People don't understand what the volume is behind this. There's a huge volume there. It's like terabytes and petabytes of data, all right? So this is one. Then we have the variety. We have all these sources that we receive information from cameras, IoT, sensors, you name it, right? And then we have, let's say, the velocity of the information. That do you need live data or do you need near live data, right? And then it's the veracity of the data, right? It's the quality. Because we receive a lot of crap and we send a lot of crap. Right? And then of course, I said, yeah. And then as you said, it's how do you give value? What are the tools to give value to all this information, even if that is AI or not, which AI is another big subject that we'll talk about as well. So there are many applications. We're not there yet, right? The challenge is that there are a lot of silos. We still have silos between companies, right?
Inside the companies, by the way.
Well, okay, it depends who runs it, but yes. But we're talking about silos within the aviation community. We have managed, and you have done this, we kind of had a discussion, to start sharing information with airlines for the first time on passengers. So we know, let's say, where the passenger is. Not with many, we did not have this a few years ago, right? This helped a lot into identifying if the passenger is coming, has gone through security or not. We, let's say through data, we have managed to provide to every ground handler who runs a show at the gate if the passenger has gone through screening or not, to make a call or not to make a call. You see, there are a lot of pros when you do all these things, but the challenges don't stop there. Data is big. Data is expensive, right? People need to know what they want to see from the data, and this is another issue that we have.
But do you share data?
We definitely share data to an extent, but the question sometimes is who owns the data?
Yeah.
All right, and this is one of the biggest challenges that we have at an airport. Who owns the data? Who has the real data at an airport? Is it the airport? Is it the airline? It's like the question,
Yeah, but
who owns the passenger?
is it important at the end? Because, at the end, what you want, you make more the ecosystem more efficient. Then who owns the data? What is important? What's
No,
important?
that's not the important is to have quality data and not to make repetitive actions. And what do I mean about this? We're talking, there's so many stories about airports. Listen, we're talking about systems about biometrics, right? Including the fact how it's going to be worked in the future. We're working on this, right? And part of the challenge that we have is the standards. We don't have the same. We have legacy systems, right? Information that is not valid, and we're doing certain things wrong as an industry. Let me introduce to you, which you don't have, the entry-exit system that is coming right now in Europe. All right, what is that? The passenger needs to register biometrically. Right? We're talking about simplification of the travel journey. What do I ask from the passenger and you? To register again biometrically. Why do I have to do this twice? I mean, we are doing the wrong things within the airport. So you're right about this, but again, we're doing certain things.
Can this be the solution?
This could be the solution, but I am investing before he comes over. I'm already investing in biometrics. So am I doing the right thing? What am I doing? Am I teaching to the passenger something wrong already? And within 5 years, this is going to change. This is an issue with our industry. We have a different DNA. All right, our DNA is such that we're slow. All right,
There's a long discussion. With men we try to fix that, but they need a little bit of time.
The experience in Europe, as you described, will be different when you travel outside.
Yeah, that's the thing. When
It's
you
not
see that.
going to be the same.
Yeah, but we don't have the compliance issue regulations that other countries. I mean, we have more regulations that other countries have, like India, like Dubai, like America. You know, they're getting stricter as time flies. But right now, we're very much regulated in Europe. Right, wrong, that's something else.
Yeah, it's a long discussion. Petros, big data are important?
Actually,
can facilitate.
actually, I agree with his vision. Interoperability is important. That's important. The interoperability of the processes is important. So the airlines are competitive, right? Compete each other, so they cannot share data. And the airports now, they compete each other, right? For example, a peripheral airport is competition with a central airport. It's not always easy to exchange data. So companies have their own path to benefit from data, and they invest more or less. The most important thing is how to create this interoperability. So the passenger can really travel across different stations and touch points without needing to change the HAT. This is important. The data, it is a story that companies know what to do with data. They have many consultants now. And if they have data and money to invest, they find good solutions to export data.
Don't they share data sometimes through third-party operators like OAG or Forward Keys or Amadeus or others, the airlines? Do they or not?
Actually, this is, if I understand well, this is always a reason why airlines are, they have some resistance to work with Amadeus.
Right.
It depends on the business case. I guess.
Depends on the business
Let's see your airline.
Depends on the business case.
So there's a famous saying that the AI thing, they call it no data, no AI, but no use case, no AI is a more important saying, I think, because the use case defines everything. If you have a use case, commercially you can discuss sharing the data, you can discuss everything, and it's under negotiation.
Yeah.
But if there is a use case, then everybody can come together and discuss the sharing the data, etc. So of course, each company wants to get best of its data, even it's inside the company, even by sharing it.
But do we see the tree and forget the forest? I always have this situation because I see that I understand this is the data is important for the company, especially for the airline, probably more than the airport. Then sharing the data for the airlines it's more complicated. But if we see the forest, then will be beneficial also for the airline. As John said, with all the process at the airport, not probably selling everything, but those that will be an add value for the process, because we have to understand the passenger is the one who decides, is the ruler, is the one who decides.
Yeah, I was not aware that there is a problem of data sharing from the airline side. Today, yeah, even in my case, I didn't face something like that because we collaborate. For example, we operate at Sabiha Gökçen Airport, the secondary airport of Istanbul. It's our base. We share many information for each other. If there is a use case, we ask each other.
Probably we need another line that is not so open.
Yeah,
Then
there can be some reasons behind it. I can understand, but in my case,
I don't believe Turkish, for example, is so open compared to Pegasus. Sharing data.
their data with Pegasus Airlines,
No.
with the airport.
Yeah.
But they have to, because we are designing the passenger experience together with the airport and the airline. If you want a superior experience during their journey, in a holistic view, you have to share, you have to collaborate. Otherwise, the experience is simple. You mentioned passenger doesn't care, the technology doesn't care, the airport doesn't care.
Right.
Simple way to get from one point to
They
the
want
other.
to get a simplified service, convenient service, and they don't want to deal with the complexity. So to provide that kind of service, you have to collaborate with the airport and the airlines, get together. The other parties also, the ground handling companies, etc. They don't care about the complexity of the business. They want to get a convenient service. So for that purpose,
There's no.
for example, there are technical obstacles, by the way. For example, we are flying to more than 150 airports as Pegasus Airlines, we are a mid-size airline, by the way.
No,
I need...
big, not big, size.
big, okay.
One aircraft per month in your addition.
So, some of the information which we want to provide to our passengers comes from the airport. For example, gate changes, gate information, conveyor belt information, baggage claim information, etc. As an airline, we don't have that kind of information, but we want to provide that information to our passenger. So we want to get that information from the airlines, but you cannot integrate to 150 airports. It's a big technical challenge. So nowadays we are capturing, with the help of AI, from their websites, etc., from their apps, we all capture. There are some companies like Sita, like Sirium, but they couldn't provide sufficient information. But this is another challenge. Airport and airline data come together and it benefits for the passenger, but the ecosystem is not mature enough to consolidate the whole data to provide to the passenger.
Are you optimistic?
I am. If you want to provide a superior digital experience, you have to solve the problem in a way.
Optimistic?
I am optimistic. Sometimes what we see is that we are trying to resolve ad hoc requirements technologically, and we get seduced by technology, in reality is, but you can see that there's no high-end strategy between airports and airlines. So we're starting with solutions instead of strategy, and this is what an issue is for us, and we can see it from the results. Now, coming back to sharing information, we don't have competition between the airlines. We provide most of the information to you, to the airlines, I'm sorry, but in reality, we do not have competition. We want to provide information to ease the flow of the traveler and the airline, you know, even for turnaround times and so on, because we need to bring in more airplanes, generating more revenue.
Yes, utilization,
of course, exactly.
Thank you.
I was covered.
Thank you.
Just an overall.
Thanks, Salamidis, guru in aviation in Greece, then respected
It's very
person.
tough to speak from here. Everybody's good.
No, it's,
First of all, this is a European project. EUDR is a European project, okay? You have to be compatible with other ones. You need to come to an agreement with other ones. Now we're talking about Canada. Canada is a very good partner. I say that from experience. Other third parties, I don't guarantee how we will react and whether we will cooperate and allow this transfer of data, whatever. Then secondly, the whole package is something that's very expensive. You've got to say that. Okay. Some countries, even within Europe, probably don't have the resources, financial resources, or have other priorities before adapting technology. As is AIR is involved, which is a very expensive one, because you need huge power supplies, okay? So money, quite a lot of money is involved in that case. So you've got to be very careful whether that will apply universally within Europe. What I'm afraid of, if Europe is not very prudent about this project, probably will end up like ETS, okay? Emission trading scheme, where it was adopted within Europe. Finally, the European carriers suffer in a way, let's say, financially. Third parties enjoy a different status. Okay, something should be very careful about the whole thing. Then I saw that we were talking about this biometric traveler enrollment. And that lies with the airlines. Airlines is a private organization. Who allows that? That they hold, they keep biometric data. Because airlines, some of them probably go bankrupt. Low-cost carriers come and go.
They have
Do they
regulations
store
by
this?
rights, and they cannot
what
keep
will
the
happen with
information
the
from.
data? Who allows, those private entities to hold your private data? That's another question. And third, when you summarize, you sum up, the first thing you said is that airlines should bear the responsibility of maintaining the biometrical data and provide all the infrastructure, whatever, in case, of seamless travel. And the validation of this data. If you do that, how can you guarantee an airline has the ability to check and validate this data? Because what happened a few years ago, when the passenger passenger compensation for delayed passenger and so forth, and it was about the customer identity. And airlines with the inexperienced staff had the obligation to verify whether this travel document was a good one or a forged one. And in very many cases, because of the Schengen area, would enter in the Schengen area, the entry point was not very careful and allowed any, say, illegal passenger, illegitimate passenger to entry, come to Greece. Greece will transfer this passenger to another European country, and the third European country will say that paper is forged. And then the Greek carrier had to pay, and it was substantial amount of money per passenger. So why airlines, again, have to bear the cost and the responsibility of validating this data? Should be very careful about that.
Any comment?
Isn't it
I know
the
the
responsibility of
colleague
immigration and not the
from
airline?
Pegasus, I believe you share some of these problems, okay?
Okay, there are many questions.
Sorry?
There are many questions.
Yeah, it's not a single question.
Yeah, I don't know where it's from, but.
No.
it-
There's no question, it's something,
So comments.
we have to.
Yeah.
Thoughts and
Position.
challenges but let me start this way. No one solution fits all right, generally speaking, all right? So no matter what you do, there is going to be questions. And to go for the next step and the next step and the next step. One problem creates a solution, somebody makes money out of it, that's how it goes. So, but in this case, what we said, the validation is done at certain checkpoints within the airport, right? So the owner of the data at that given time is on the passenger. This is what you said, which is a very nice concept being discussed for some number of years now. So even though today, and I'm opening a bracket here, we are discussing and trying to do biometrics through Star Alliance, we're facing exactly the same concerns that you have. And again, who owns the data? Them, us? Okay,
Yes.
I'm closing the bracket. But in this case, the way this was presented, and I'm very glad that we have Iatrou for the first time creating this strategy, the passenger owns the data. So that, I think, answers the first question out of this 26 questions.
So if I may add, this data is not stored to the airline or the airport or anywhere
They are
else.
stored, the time the airline needs to store this document.
Like a
Then
log.
Huh?
Yeah. He passed.
Instantly only.
No, he passed, check, on board of the airplane deleted.
Okay.
That's the logic
Oh,
for
okay.
to apply to GDPR.
Okay.
Now,
This is one of the user scenarios, by the way. There can be credentialed companies, it can be government or independent private company, but authorized. You can just ask the biometric data when you require it, and they provide with a service. Afterwards, the airline doesn't keep the data. It's just a service provided by an entity, a private or governmental organization.
And
It's another scenario.
if I understood properly, the validation of the data is not happening by the airline or the airport, it's happening by the immigration, correct? And if I
Validation
understand,
can happen by everyone in the value chain can validate data. Huh?
okay,
Under the assumption that I will present the data. So it's a voluntarily I present the data and then I validate. So I'm asking to present this data, I present this data, they're validating. And there is always this constraint of minimal disclosure. So the regulation comes and says minimal disclosure. So you cannot really ask the customer to provide more information than you need in order to handle this operation.
okay.
So, has anybody experience buying a property in the UK?
No, experience in Greece.
Okay, so a small example I want to tell you. I attempted such a thing. There's an application, it's an authorized application by the UK government.
You have
Its
property-
name is Koumelis, I think.
You have property.
A small one, yeah.
Report.
It's called Palace.
The application is called Koumelis. It's an AI-based and biometric application. When you register yourself, you take your identity pics, you take the pics of your passport, and also the biometric camera takes your face, and they match it, and they check your location and the home address, and they provide a unique identity, a kind of digital identity, and they approve. This is Barış, residing in Istanbul. This is his passport, this is his identity card, and this is his face. And his face and the identities matching each other. And it's truly, we can assure that he is he. So, UK government trusts Koumelis because Koumelis share my information to the UK. For buying the property, Koumelis assures that I am a real person with these documents. I think the experience will be similar. In that case, Koumelis, in this case, the government or European Union itself, its organizations, or any authorized private company can provide this kind of biometric or credential information to the airport, airline, anybody who needs that information. That will be a service, I think. Sorry for. So just
intermediate providing.
It's an example for the property buyers, but there is a social problem, adoption problem in the airline industry because some of the people even don't use smart phones, so there is a challenge over there.
Absolutely.
There is a challenge.
I'm sorry, can I just say in top
Yeah,
days?
of course.
Because you said about property. Have you tried to open a bank account in Greece? Or other countries? I'm
We
joking.
speak about airlines.
We are international partners.
In UK, I told it, yeah.
The reason why I'm saying this, and I'm putting a full stop, is have you opened an account with Revolut, which is a bank, online banking?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's
Revolut is
there's nothing else.
perfect
experience. Of course. This is experience with us.
Yes.
All right, okay.
Oh, you're right. So the banking sector in Greece has very defensive strategies regarding how to acquire new customers. I think in the saving of data there is an upper limit, and the upper limit is the privacy of the customer. And we have to understand that this is going to become a big trend. So for Nordics, Germans, people from Baltic countries, the data privacy is an absolute. So in Netherlands, they ask, in order to use the EU data wallet, they repeatedly ask about the data privacy of the wallet. They are afraid that the government will monitor their actions. So people are crazy with data privacy. So that's the The first. The second thing is that we are in a world that changes quickly. So in Europe, now the attention is how to make the rest of the single market we have not developed in the past. Now we want to aggressively develop more single markets. So that's the priority, not the interaction with the rest of the world. It's the priority is the single market, specifically for airlines, airports, and so on. And then the belief is that if we excel and if we become leaders, the rest of the countries will come here in order to adopt the same standards. And this is a little bit true now. It was not true last year, but the evolution in what happens now in the United States, it's really important. In the United States, we have the most serious standardization entity in the world, NIST, and people leave NIST and move to UK or to Canada because of all these things that they happen in US. So it's an opportunity now of in Europe to define standards. Together with Canada, again, I can tell you that it's a lot of, specifically the last 4 months, there is a lot of interaction, communication between the European Commission and Canada. And Australia, I can observe now, they are willing to become part of the club. Actually, this is also the line of the economist. Globalization, if United States want to stay apart, so globalization between Europe, Canada and Australia and everybody else willing to participate.
One thing, for example, here in Greece, that what we have done, the government during COVID time, digitalized pretty much everything. Then, if you ask me where is my real ID, I somewhere. I don't know where is it. I have it here. Now I have a digital, as all Greeks then they can have. Then you have the digital wallet. Then this is what I saw: my driver license and my ID. And with Aegean, with a collaboration with the ministries, then you can have, because you have it in the airports, you add your ID in domestic flights, you add in your boarding pass. Then I don't need to show my ID. I already scanned them. It's already verified.
Yeah,
In the future, my passport is going to be there.
Yes, this is good.
But again,
no. Next question.
yeah, but again, sorry, but I insisted. But I'm traveling mostly outside of Europe, so I will need to have a digital passport when I'm traveling within Europe, the UDI wallet and everything. But if I want to travel outside of Europe, I will still need the...
Wait, we have still time to ask questions. Then let's move to what I said about passenger experience, and we talk about innovation. Then what initiative was your company undertake? And then also the same question would apply for
in means of passenger experience?
Yes, yeah. What in the digital approach? I mean, how to make the process more easy for the passenger?
We are a low-cost airline, so we don't give the most luxury services in means of whiskey and meat and steak and etc.
Not everyone wants.
No, I am coming to digital. Yeah, but we are very eager to provide a superior digital experience to our passengers for every step of their journey. You have mentioned, I think, informing the passenger in every step of their journey, even the gate changes, if there's any delay, their seat numbers, security checking, whatever it is. We notify our passengers with the help of our app as a channel. We have also implemented sticky widget. You don't have to go to the app, by the way. In the lock screen, some of the airlines are providing this kind of services. We give all the information required for the passenger during their journey. Even if there is any change, if there is any delay, for example, boarding started, we give a notification. If you are drinking your coffee, our app says,
why are you drinking coffee?
If you have time, for example, if there is a delay, you can continue.
You can have another coffee.
Drinking, have another coffee because there is 30 minutes delay. So, if the boarding started, for example, we want to eliminate all the boards and all the other stuff around the airport. Our motto is just your app is sufficient to track all your journey during your flight. Otherwise, conceptual searches with the help of AI. For example, I want to have a romantic dinner in the European region. Just you can just you don't have to select the destination from point A to point B. ORAC provides you conceptual recommendations and etc. And also on the contact center side, also we are trying to handle most of the cases with the help of AI. And also we are planning to eliminate 80% of our contact center with the voice agents. We are collaborating. We have opened an innovation lab in San Francisco, Silicon Valley last year. We are collaborating with the universities over there, like Berkeley, like Stanford, and also we are collaborating with the startup ecosystem over there. We are handling more than 20 projects at the moment, different use cases, especially in the AI field. More than half of them are just at the customer touch points, you know, the experience related, contact center related, search related, also informing the passenger just in time, and just the information is required. So, to sum up, I can say that superior digital experience is our motto as a low-cost airline. We are not. I cannot say that we can compete in the other field of the luxury, but in the digital field, we are very eager to provide a superior digital experience. Starting with buying the ticket, if you have any complaints, tracking your flight, making the check-in. We are removing, by the way, printed boarding passes. Next month, we will not print any boarding passes anymore. All the things will be handled digitally. And
then someone will go to the airport, what they will do if someone does not have the possibility?
we send them as a WhatsApp message, as an SMS, digitally. Not printing, but we will provide, of course. But they are not limited.
Well, I'm in favor, but just asking for.
They are not limited with the app, but we will provide it digitally, not printed.
I like this experience, but I still need internet access to have this experience. And in Istanbul airport, I need to scan my passport to get only 1 hour internet access.
At Sabiha Gökçen,
That's a bit biased.
at Sabiha Gökçen,
You went to the wrong airport.
we provide free internet.
No.
For the exception, we will charge for it. For very limited counters, maybe 1 or 2, there will be a queue over there. Most
I will
probably.
buy this in, okay.
It's not our favorite service.
Great job, man.
Okay.
Then, John.
Yeah.
Passenger experience.
Passenger experience, of course.
It's different in your own compared to airline.
It is. And the airlines expect from us, not in the US with the airlines on the terminals, it's a little bit different, but as I said before, we're making certain decisions on the right path. It's what the customer can see on the front side and what is happening in the background to create a stress-free travel experience, right? So, even right now, we're working on projects that are like for seamless traveling, in the sense that the passenger can come in, he can go to a podium on his own, receive the bag tag, and on his own he can drop off the suitcase. So at this point, we are eliminating time between these points and making this faster as a journey. Now look at the other side of the coin, and this is what I said to Barış before. We're talking about digitalization. What have we done the last 10 years? Remember, the last 10 years we were discussing, for the people that know, we were saying we will forget about checking counters, we will work with kiosks only. Forget about that. We're here in 2025, still have checking counters. The airlines are saying, oh, listen, we're doing digital, let's say, tickets. Wow, right? I'm sorry, they still have to print the bag tags. I mean, what are we doing here, all right? I mean, are we joking?
We should solve the bag thing.
And you see, so we're going halfway, half solutions, still creating issues. I mean, this is an impact to all of us, from the passenger all the way to the airline, all the way to us, right, to the airport, and so on. And this is infrastructure that needs to be maintained, right, to be available. People need continuity on their service, right? So we have created this, all right? We have created like e-gates that people can go in automatically, receive pass and access to go to the screening points. We are installing gates for self-boarding right now, self-boarding. And we are in the process of installing, working with Star Alliance, and I know that Fraport in Germany has done this, to work with biometrics. All right. Now, this is a tendency, this is a better approach. Projects like this, when they start, it's very hard to pull the plug afterwards. Because it's a project that we're not really sure if it's going to be successful. No, this is a tendency, but there's a very high cost. And when we say cost, cost means it impacts the airports, it impacts the airlines, and it impacts the passenger as well.
Then, Petros made a great presentation. What is your opinion about this? Because this is passenger experience, innovation. Well, I'm on board. I would have.
Yeah,
It would be free, or you have to pay to have it.
Actually,
nothing is free.
yeah, there is no free.
No free lunch.
Free lunch.
It used to be free in the airlines.
Apparently, airports have their own investment strategies about biometrics.
I mean, free for the passenger, not for the.
For the passenger, yeah, for the passenger it will be certainly free. Even if I agree with your vision, it will be never 100% digitization. So we have banks now; they are really mature in this regard. So they serve through e-banking the 90% of their customers. There's still 10% of customers going to the physical stores. This is the reason
What's
why
the percent?
10%. 10% going, and this 10% it's hard to reduce. So it's 10%. So digitization of 100% does not exist. So you have to respect a part of the society which want to
Step by step.
Yeah, all step by step, whatever it is. So you have always to deal with people outside of the digital world. At least for the horizon we can see right now. The investment, yeah. There are current investments in biometrics, this is clear. And the challenge is how we can find the interaction, the interoperability points, where all these technologies, the wallet technologies, it's a very strong. So look at the adoption of Apple and Google Wallet. And the challenge for the EUDI wallet is not it is the Apple and Google wallet. So whether the EUDI wallet can become a real player, eventually collaboration with this wallet, or the Apple and Google wallet become European wallets in the sense that in Europe we'll adopt European standards. So we can see.
Can this be a competitor to this, or it can be merged, or I don't know?
Actually, for iGrant is a young company investing a lot in this technology. Of course, the competitor is Apple and Google. And the challenge for the European landscape is whether we'll have one or two big European wallets. If we don't accede, Apple and Google is really very aggressive, very friendly aggressive to adopt the European standards. So that's the next one. The investment, it's very important to sit down and discuss with airlines.
On the airports or the airlines also? And the airlines?
Actually, with airlines it's much easier, because the enrollment of the passenger, it's mostly outsourced to Amadeus or one or two other players, much easier to do. And they have a lot of digitization experience right now. With airports, much more complicated, specifically with peripheral airports. And don't forget that 50% of the traffic in Europe goes through the peripheral airports, where you are one of the leader.
May I just add one more thing about, because one of the things that we discovered through years, and everybody knows about this, is that the airport as a concept is stressful for people, right? Not to lose a flight, to fly with an airplane. So fun is part of what we are obligated somehow to provide to our passengers. We're doing a lot of things, and all these about ChatGPT and stuff like that, we can talk about it. One of the initiatives that we have done is that we have introduced in Thessaloniki a robot. And I've been out there right now, back and forth, testing it, which is somehow a humanoid look. And what it does is it provides information to the passenger, you know, about if they scan their ticket, where they need to go and stuff like that. It protects the passengers in the sense that the robot goes around the terminal, predefined zones, and it detects multiple things from temperature, air quality, you name it, suitcases, abandoned or luggages for more than 20 minutes, which is part of our security, which you understand. And all these things notify the right people within the airport. Right? So, and this is what it does in the background. But also a lot of people sit there, take pictures, have fun, walk with the robot and stuff like that. So we're trying to create a stress-free, through little solutions environment for the passengers.
Here is my son Yorgos. Then Yorgos, he is the Generation Z. What is initiatives? They have a completely way, you know, they are with this in the hands all the time. Then,
Mobile only.
Mobile only. Then the question, there is no laptop, there is no TV. Then what can be something attractive to them? What you can offer to them? I have a different agenda that we have. Well, okay, we have money, let's say, budget to do traveling and so on. But this is generation. The fun ways to make revenue, different ways. Then what we can attract them, what we can offer to them in the digital, because they are digital. Completely digital. They don't know all these things, and you know, this is out there.
Yeah, all the world we are trying to transform is making the world ready for them.
Yeah.
You know, all mobile investment, all digital initiatives are. We are getting an older generation. Even my mother, father, they may not prefer to use smartphones, etc. But if you're not present in the mobile world, you even don't exist for the new generation. So you have to build all your experience around the mobility and the frictions. And also, the new generation is coming, and my words are depending on research. They are going away from the luxury, they are going standardization, frictionless is sufficient.
Luxury is for the old people.
Yeah.
Not for the young, they want to travel.
The
They're
research,
looking for a different life.
yeah,
Experience.
researchers,
Well, at their age we were the same. We didn't care about luxury, you know.
easy. The key word is easy and convenient. The new generation cares about the easiness of the process,
Exactly.
digitalization of
Then
the
here
process.
you are again.
Yeah. So the thing is, also they don't want to differentiate themselves with the money, with the luxury brands, etc. So democratization, digitalization, convenience, easiness, these are the keywords I think for the new generation. At least in my opinion. So all the commercial institutions, including the airlines, must prepare themselves accordingly. Otherwise, they will not exist for the young generation. This is the thing, if you invest in mobility, if you invest in frictionless travel, if you invest in easiness and convenience, it will be appreciated by the young generation. This is the thing. Yeah.
Yoro, what do you think? You will be appreciated. from
Confirmed?
you? What do you want as a passenger? You are a frequent traveler. What do you want? Easiness?
Everything to be done from here.
Okay.
Can I,
Is it?
man,
Can I hit the ball?
Perhaps the
Then-
best gift for these kids is the familiarization with the robot. No?
yeah.
So that's the challenge.
And
How we can coexist.
Yeah.
Then we raise this about AI. Then what's the role of AI in aviation? Is it a threat, or it is a useful tool? Or it depends how
If you
use
cannot
it.
beam up the passenger yet, it's not a threat.
Star Trek.
Of course, it's a benefit for optimization side. You know, AI make things very easy, optimization easy, customer communication easy. So interoperability we talked about, for example, even inside the company. For example, flight control center and the ground operations and the technique, for example, they all want to optimize their own business, but holistically it's not optimized. So AI can help us for in a holistically optimize the operations. For example, for dynamic and continuous pricing, we are trying to provide the best price to our passenger, and also we are trying to optimize our revenue. Simultaneously, we are trying to give the best price to the passenger, best fare. This is only possible with the help of AI.
So it's reliable.
Yeah,
Because once I tried to do a map with the world, I ended up to have Paris somewhere else in the map. Then it's reliable, that's the question.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, but
Yeah,
it's
they're-
AI.
yeah,
AI
they're-
is because AI is
He
feeds
wants us to
with
still live
information
on
that
yeah.
we give it to him. It's not.
Still, it is
it's not good.
developing. It's not very mature, but we can see that it's coming big. Today, there can be some points lagging. It's not satisfactory. It may not be satisfactory in some points, but we can definitely see it's coming very big and it's changing all the ecosystem.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Thank you.
so in means of ecosystem management, in means of, for example, all our documents are stored in the AI tools and all. Empowering our employees, one dimension. AI workers and agentic is another dimension. 1 month ago, I was in San Francisco. There were billboards over there. Stop hiring humans.
Yes, I
Have you
was in
seen
New
it?
York.
Yeah, stop hiring humans.
We must.
The first one is empower your employee with the information, because if you empower your employee, they are stronger. They can handle the task of 3 men.
And they don't
Yeah.
go on strike.
Yeah. In the second hand, the AI helps. You can hire robots. You can hire not physical robots. I mean the agentic things. They can handle the things instead of the human. If it can be defined analytically, the agents will take over the human power in some fields. But I can say in the kinetic world, still the AI thing is very poor. I have visited many labs for baggage handling, baggage. They don't work proper. I have visited Stanford computer science. They have labs for the robotics. They cannot cook an egg. The AI thing is a big thing, but they cannot cook the egg. Still, they cannot do that. But they can write perfect poems. They can write. They can write perfect letters. They can interpret huge amount of data instantly. But in the kinetic world, we will still need the human power. On the third, inshallah. in the third line, the transformative things. The transformative, for example, we are planning to replace our 80% of our contact center. Is more than 400 people working at the moment. In 2 years period, we are planning to replace 80% of it with AI. And also you said at the beginning of the session, the pilots will not disappear, but we are working with some of the startups in the United States. Yes, in 10 years period, yes, but after 10 years period, they are planning to decrease the number of 2 pilots to 1. Assisted pilots from the ground.
No, inshallah.
No, inshallah. But it is coming. The big thing.
Yeah, it's a long discussion.
Yeah, long discussion. Yeah, this is the thing I can say. So, for managing the cost, for optimizing our operations, I said an airline is a planning and optimization company. Definitely, AI is the best helper, best empowering tool in this means, I can say. Not a threat.
Comments? Threat?
Yeah,
Two? In the middle?
listen, for my age, which is not that young, if I remember things that impressed me in life, especially about technology, first of all, it was, don't record this, it was a microwave, all right? After the microwave, we had the internet. This is what I remember.
Yeah.
And then we have the cloud, which are for IT people, and now we have AI. This is how it goes, right? Now, AI is a fantastic tool. Do we have the maturity to use it? No. Do we have a full strategy again, what we want to do with it? No. Is everybody coming up with these fantastic ideas, and we as IT have to hear all this stuff? Yes. But It's a very expensive tool. You have to understand, very expensive tool. The compute that is required to do what you want to do, up to a certain level, from a certain level beyond, is very expensive. And I'm sure that you agree with this. There are many fantastic solutions. We are using this slightly in certain applications. We're using it for network detection because remember, the AY was a fantastic tool until EU AI came over and blocked certain things, the regulation, and cybersecurity regulation as well. These two are major handbrakes, not only to what is going to be developed, but what already has been developed in the market. All right? That makes it even more expensive. There are solutions, let's say we're working with EU projects on robotics, robotic ground handling, for the obvious reason that we cannot find right people and want this to be expedited. So there are solutions out there. We're working with Lidl and Masutis and universities, Ekeda, as well as you very well know. We're using, let's say, different solutions for digital twins about how to understand and detect gaps in the flow of the airports. And there are other awesome ideas in the future which we cannot escape from. We're talking about digital towers. It's something that exists out there. We need to be safe. And civil aviation
We have
understands
two
this
experts.
very well. We have the experts
here
about digital towers. Of course, there are requirements before this, but it is the future. And the AI behind this will provide even more safer flights, all right? So yes, there are a lot of applications to be developed, not only for the passenger, but within the company, because we still see paperwork, not to freak out people that they're gonna lose their job, to retrain them to do something else, because we have been very stagnant in our business over the last year.
Last word before we close, as we are on the end of the session, in general about digitalization.
There's no escape from digitalization. We need to make the right decisions and to work as a group, from civil aviation all the way to the airlines, the stakeholders, and the airports, in order to solidify what we need to deliver to the end user. That's what I would say for myself.
Barış?
The most challenging part is the social adoption of the technology, especially at the airports. We don't face to a homogeneous group. There are different old group, age groups, behavior groups, etc. So providing a holistic solution to the whole passengers is not easy. There are adoption problems. But somehow AI and digitalization will reshape the world. You cannot escape it, you have to catch it, you have to play frontier. The frontier players will be distinguished from the others. That is definite, I can say. It's not easy. In some fields it's not mature enough still. It's true. But the definite thing is, it's coming. Somehow come, and it's coming big. We have to be ready and we have to move towards what's happening.
Last word, Theodore?
Actually, AI, there is no escape from AI as well. So AI is an opportunity, this is clear. In the back end, sky's the limit. You can use provided you have the money to invest. AI is a revolution, so you can use AI for many things. And for the customer interface, I predict the switch from the current websites to AI agents. So this is the future. In a few years from now, the search is gone. The search is the past. The future is AI agents. We'll interact with them. No website. And the AI agents will provide us all the information we need. And of course, the AI agents of Fraport or Pegasus will be reliable because they are business AI agents provided by the companies using the data of the company, so will be reliable.
Some of our customers will be agents and AI.
Also,
They will buy tickets from us.
specifically
Yeah.
organizations, corporations, companies.
And pay with Bitcoin.
So
I'm not sure.
let's continue the discussions during lunch then. I would like to thank all of you for being here today. Thank you, and once again thanks the University of the Aegean and Athens International Airport for their sponsorship. And that was the first edition. Then digitalization it's part of our business, and then we'll see it again probably for another high-level event next year. Thank you.
Thank you.